if you love curry goat, but you just don't know how to make it, or if you just love watch cooking videos of people making good and wonderful tasting foods, continue watching my videos so you can get the recipe and just have fun watching. Hey everyone, so today we're going to be making another Jamaican favorite that you guys love, and it is curry goat. So basically, I have about 4 pounds of goat meat right here that I asked the butcher to cut up in small chunks. They cut it up a little bit larger than I like, but just ask them to cut it up smaller. So the first thing into making curry goat is to wash your meat. And like I say in all my videos, please wash all your meat when you get it. Don't listen to people and not wash your meat. So basically, I'm washing the meat with vinegar and water. So you're just going to want to put the meat in whatever container you're going to season it up in and add some cold water to the meat, and then you're gonna add some vinegar, and you just wanna rinse it, rinse it, rinse it, and then add more water and rinse it, and then pour off the water and just continue adding more water. So just watch what I'm doing here, and this is how you basically wash your meat. And you're gonna want to do this a couple times until I usually do it until the water runs clear. And right here you can see that it's almost clear. So I'm just gonna wash it one more time, and yeah, and this is how you wash your meat. So don't skip this step because it's important. So after your meat is washed, you're just gonna get all the vegetables that you're going to cut up inside the meat. And when you cut up all your vegetables and you season your meat, the best thing to do is do this the night before you're gonna cook it. Cook it. All the meat is just gonna marinate better, and all the seasonings are gonna penetrate inside, and you're just gonna have something way more flavorful. But you don't have to do that. You can still cook the curry goat the same day, which I did, and guess what? The meat, it came out really good. And so if you know how to season meat good, or know what seasoning to make, or when you cook, you always taste and add whatever season you're missing, trust me, you are never going to have a bad or flavorless curry goat or any type of meat that you cook. You just have to know how to season it. So the first thing that we're gonna do is cut up some bell peppers, which I did, and this is like pretty optional. I cut up about a little bit more than a quarter, but less than a half of bell pepper, and I cut up about two scallions. And you can cut up the scallions fine, like I did, or you can just keep it whole. This is just all personal preference. And I cut up about half of an onion, and I'm adding some carrots. This is the another option. This is something optional. You don't have to add carrots. I'm just adding carrots because I want to. You can add whatever you like. But yes, and I added about three sprigs of thyme, or 3 to 4 sprigs of thyme, and I'm just gonna add some garlic, and that's about like 2 teaspoons of garlic. So next we're gonna cut up one whole Scotch bonnet pepper, and yes, I said one whole Scotch bonnet pepper. You can cut up half if you'd like, and I kept the seeds in. When you eat any curry, it's a little bit spicy, so you don't want to have a bland or a curry without any spice. So don't forget the Scotch bonnet pepper, but the amount is definitely optional. So now we're gonna add our seasonings inside, and the first thing that we're gonna add is some all-purpose seasoning or some adobo. We're just gonna add, like I say in all my videos, a little bit of every seasoning. So next we're gonna add some black pepper. The more meat you have, the more of the seasons you can add, but we're just gonna add a little bit of everything. So next we're gonna add some Larry seasoned salt, and you don't wanna add too much of this. And then I'm gonna use a chicken and poultry season. This is my favorite seasoning. It doesn't have to only be used in when you're making chicken, okay? And next, I'm just gonna add some pimento seeds. The pimento seeds is definitely optional. I didn't have to add it, but I wanted to. And I'm adding some garlic powder, even though I still have the fresh garlic, but you're gonna want to do that. So next, I'm just gonna use my hands and rub all the seasonings up inside the meat. And you're gonna want to make sure all the crevice of the meat is penetrated with all that seasoning. And if you rub it up and you feel like it's like there's barely any seasonings on it, then you're just gonna want to add a little more seasonings on top of it because you don't want to have something that's not flavorful. And I like to, um, after I add the seasoning, the last thing I like to add is the curry powder. And that's just my personal preference because I just want to see how all the seasonings look. And if I feel that it needs more, then I'm just going to add more, which I felt like it needed more based on the amount of meat I have. So I'm just going to add some more adobo and some of more of the chicken and poultry seasoning. So just add to your discretion. So after I do that, then I'm gonna add some of the Betapac curry powder, one of the best curry powder them out there. So don't forget the Betapac curry powder. Don't use any imitation or any type of other curry powder. Trust me, try the Betapac curry powder. I'm gonna put the link in the bio for you guys. And the amount of curry powder is optional, is not, sorry, not optional, but you're just gonna want to add a couple tablespoons of curry powder. And when you rub it up, if you feel like it doesn't have enough curry powder, then you can always add the curry powder. And for this step, definitely wear gloves. If you don't wear gloves, your fingernails is gonna have like curry on it, and you probably don't want that. So if you wanna um, you know, omit your nails from like not having any curry. Definitely wear some gloves, especially with the Scotch bonnet pepper, wear the gloves, but don't so now you're gonna just want to get the pot that you're gonna make the curry goat in, and you just want to have a big enough pot, and this is dependent on how much meat you have. So if you have more meat than me, definitely use a bigger pot than this. If you have less meat than me, then you can definitely use a smaller pot than this, but use your judgment. So we're just gonna add some oil to the pot, and this is about 3 tablespoons, let's say 3 tablespoons of oil. And this is where I had a definite brain fart, and I'm frying the meat right now, but you're gonna see that I'm just gonna take it out because, like I said, I had a brain fart because when you make curry or any curry dish, or at least in Jamaica when you make any like curry chicken or curry goat or anything, you're gonna want to burn the curry, and this is what we do. Is they probably do the same thing in other Caribbean cultures. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna take it out because I definitely had a brain fart, and you're just gonna want to get some garlic and the curry powder, and that's how you're gonna burn your curry. And this is going to release a lot of flavors that you're gonna want. So you're just gonna add about, let's say, a tablespoon of the curry powder, and like I said, use a better pot curry powder, and about a teaspoon of garlic. Or I'm using the minced garlic, but if well, I'm actually adding 2 teaspoons of garlic, but it's definitely better to use the whole garlic. But I have a big thing of minced garlic, so I'm not gonna go out and get a whole garlic. So use the whole garlics for this, and you're gonna wanna mash it um after you peel the garlic. So you're gonna add about, we're gonna add about 2 heaping teaspoons of curry powder, and we're just gonna burn the curry. And when we say burn the curry, we don't want, it to get black with the whole, and the the kitchen starts being in flames. No, we're gonna burn the curry so it gets darker, and it's gonna release all the flavors. And when you burn the curry and then you add all the meat to it, then the flavor is just going to pop and it's going to burst, and that's what you want. So we're gonna do this for about a couple minutes, let's say 2 to 3 minutes, until the curry powder gets dark. And when you do this step, you're gonna want to add enough oil because you don't want to add too little oil. It defeats the purpose. It has to be enough oil to it. So I'm just going to come back to show you how it looks. So this is how it's looking after We've been burning the curry for about 2 to 3 minutes, and you can see that it's got a little bit darker, and you don't want to do it to the point that the garlic burns. So now we're just gonna add all the goat inside the pot, and we're gonna add everything without the vegetables. You don't want to add any of the onions, scallion, and all of this right now. Just only add the meat. So after we add the meat, then I'm just gonna show you what we're gonna do next. So this is the all the goat inside the pot, and after we add everything inside the pot, then we're just going to mix it around. And I just showed you the vegetables that we're gonna set aside for now, but we're gonna mix all the goat around so everything touches the bottom. And then after we do that, then we're just gonna cover the pot and leave it for about 10 to 15 minutes covered. And we're gonna turn it in between. So it's been about 15 minutes, and this is how the goat is looking. And I did mix it periodically between those 15 minutes, and you can see that it did create a lot of water, and I did not add any water to it. This is just all the natural juices from the meat, and this is what we want. So this is definitely a key step, and if you watch my curry chicken video, the steps are definitely extremely similar. So next we're just gonna add all the vegetables, and we're just gonna add water, and we're just gonna add it into the same container that we season the meat with, because we're just gonna want to get rid of all the flavor and put it back inside the pot. So I'm basically adding the water until it's covered, and I did taste the gravy to see how it's looking, and it tastes fine. So it's been an hour, and this is how the uh, curry goat is looking, and it did reduce a lot, and it looks good, but the meat is still tough. And the fire is on medium. I forgot to mention that earlier. Um, but I basically mix it, see how it's looking, see that it's still tough, and we're gonna add more water. And I tasted it, and the gravy was still perfect. So if you wanted to use a pressure cooker, this is when you would, this is the point where you would remove all the meat from the pot and add it to the pressure cooker at this point. But I'm not going to use the pressure cooker in this video, so I'm just going to add more water to the pot, and I'm going to cover it back up for another hour. So it's been another hour again, and this is how the curry goat is looking, and it looks good. You would think that it's cooked, but no, it's not cooked. The meat is still tough, and this is the point in the video where I'm like, oh, why didn't I just use the pressure cooker? But I did not want to use a pressure cooker just because I wanted to show you guys how long it takes to cook the curry goat without the pressure cooker from start to finish. So I'm just gonna add more water to the pot, and I'm just gonna taste it to make sure that it's still the seasons is fine, which it is. Then I'm just gonna cover back the pot. So at this point in the cooking process, the meat is almost finished cooking, and thank God, because this is one tough piece of goat meat. Like the worst thing to get is to get any type of goat meat or oxtail, and then the meat is tough and it takes so long to cook. That's why the pressure cooker will always be your best friend. So at this point in the cooking process, since the meat is not all the way tender where I would like it, but it's like getting there. We're just gonna add some butter at this point in the cooking process. So you can see that, the fork goes through, but it's still a little bit of resistance kind of, but it's almost there. It's almost finished. So we're just gonna add some butter, and I'm adding salted butter, but when you add the butter, I always say this, try to add unsalted butter, because you don't want to add extra salt in your meat um, to make it saltier. You don't want that. So just add unsalted butter at this point. And we're gonna mix this, and I'm just gonna come back, and we're just gonna add some potatoes. So it's been about 15 to 20 minutes, and we're just gonna add the potato now. The curry goat is basically almost cooked, and this is the last step. When it's right there and it's basically cooked, then you're just gonna add the potatoes at the end, because it takes really, really quick to cook. And you can see how nice and thick the gravy is, and this is just what you want. So we are at the end of the finish line in cooking this curry goat, and guess what? It's finally finished and it looks and tastes so good. I know you guys just want to eat this goat right through the TV screen or the computer screen, but it's looking good. The gravy is nice and thick, and it's definitely gonna thicken up a little bit. So, for those of you guys who love gravy on your food, you're gonna love this if you make this recipe. But look how good this is.